Viewer beware, you're in for a scare as we discuss R.L. Stine's hit series Goosebumps on this week's episode of Wreck My Childhood.
But you see
Yeah.
what it says right
All right, well, we're here today to talk about Goosebumps, the haunted mask, and today we're going to be putting our nostalgia to test and possibly wreck our childhood by doing that. So
childhood.
I'm finding out right now. So Kevin, I think me and you are the only ones who ever watched Goosebumps really as a kid. I know. Like,
oh my God.
I keep finding out every time I invite people here. They're like, "Yeah, I've never seen that." I'm like, well, what do you?
Well, you also remember we talked about this when we did Are You Afraid of the Dark? You're talking to two people who did not like scary things
That's
as
true.
kids.
I saw
true.
one episode of Goosebumps as a kid, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna get a
He's
dose
still
of it
like
today. So that's what we're gonna do is Goosebumps today. So a little bit of background on this. Again, this is a Canadian book series and a Canadian television show.
Really?
What is it with Are You Afraid of the Dark and what's with the horror kid stuff all being Canadian? Is it just because I think it's like Canadians just can't go full-fledged horror, so they just always do kid horror stuff, and that's why it all comes from Canada. But anyway, the author is R.L. Stine. I'm sure you all know that. For those of you watching at home, if you didn't know that, what are you doing watching this if you don't know that? There's 62 main books in the series that ran from 1992 to 1997, and the first book was Welcome to Dead House, which was released in July of 1992.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I actually had that. Never read it.
So
but
I never
had
had that one. I never read it, but apparently that's the most scary one out of all of them because R.L. Stine was writing teen horror stuff. Fear Street. I don't know if you guys have heard of Fear Street or not, but that was like more teen horror. And this, after he wrote that, he started doing ones for children, like more 7 to 12 years old. And he didn't actually have the formula down yet, so it was a little too scary. And he always kind of hated that he thought like it was a little too much. What it's about is Amanda and Josh think the old house they have just moved into is weird, spooky, possibly haunted. And the town of Dark Falls is pretty strange too. But their parents don't believe them. You'll get used to it, they say. Go out and make some new friends. So Amanda and Josh do. But these creepy new friends are not exactly what their parents had in mind because they want to be friends forever. That's the
Dun, dun, dun.
sleeve jacket pretty much of Welcome to Dead House. So the series Goosebumps has sold over 350 million copies around the world in 32 different languages and is actually the second best-selling book series in history.
Wow.
Seriously?
Yes. Can you guys guess what number one is, though? We'll go down the line. What do you think number one is?
Can we get a hint here?
I want to say
Think
like
number one best-selling book series, not just books.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
All right, what do you think?
Harry Potter.
What do you think?
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Okay. What do you think? Get close to the mic, and you need to talk
Something
close
with
to the mic.
Stephen
Lord of the
King.
Rings.
So,
Something with Stephen King.
you mean like the
Like It or
no,
Carrie-
because he has that whole series
The
that they
Dark
made.
Tower.
The Dark
Oh,
Tower
the-
series.
okay, yeah.
He didn't mean that.
Yeah, he didn't know. The Shining.
Actually,
Stephen King, that's a writer, right?
Lord of the Rings they've done in so many different languages.
Well, you two were actually right. Harry Potter
Okay,
is
good.
the number one.
Good, I didn't say
Lord
that.
of the Rings was like on the top 10 list, I think I saw. But yeah, Harry Potter and then Goosebumps. I did not think they would be that high on the list. Second
Seriously?
best-selling
Also,
book series
how
in the
old
world.
is it
Oh my
again?
God.
1992, so it's older. But I mean, there's a lot of book series that are older too.
That's
Also,
like
Harry Potter
2000.
started
Potter's
late
old.
90s.
I like Harry Potter. I don't think it's worth number one though.
Really? Well, it's just because so many people like
Yeah.
it.
Kids and-
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, also
yeah.
get close to that mic. Yeah, there you go. All right. So before writing all the horror stuff, R.L. Stine actually wrote comedy, and his nickname was Jovial Bob Stine. So
name.
yeah, great
name.
Canadian name.
I wonder why that didn't last.
Yeah, right. Stine's writing style was a little opposite of most people. He thinks of the title first and then writes a story off the title.
That's interesting.
That's a really weird way to write a story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because also his titles weren't really that great, in my opinion. So I'm like,
Harry
you're
Potter and
yeah.
the mysterious empty bowl.
Well, we're not talking about Harry Potter anymore.
Stay on track, Gregor.
Stay on track. We're back to Goosebumps.
Or just try listening.
I'm a little loud and weird here. So.
Oh, that
All right.
was different from normal.
No, yeah, I should probably back off the mic a little bit. My hard P's are making the mic turn off
hard
here.
P?
My hard P. I went to the doctor. They told me I have hard P.
I thought this was a children's show.
Lay out the sodium, mate.
Sure, this is about Goosebumps.
All right,
I
so
know. Talking hard P over here.
so Stine started writing these stories as primarily for girls. He didn't think boys would be into it as much.
What is wrong with this guy?
I know, right?
He just assumed they're gender.
But I know, right? I'm gonna take these off because they're really hot and annoying.
So hot.
But a lot of boys were getting into it too. So it was just they were like, oh, we're gonna scratch that hole, trying to make it just for
Scary
girls kind of
books.
thing.
Boys
yeah,
were getting into it.
yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
that's
I don't know
surprising.
why they thought that was a weird thing,
This guy
but
sounds like a genius.
so now to add to his genius writing style, not only does he start with the title first, but it only takes him 3 weeks from the moment he comes up with a title to completely outline and finish his story of a book. So every book you're reading that probably as kids took us like a month to read because we have ADD, took him 3 weeks to write that whole book.
He should
Wow.
hook up with George R. Martin.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna say Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. Get Jar Jar Binks. So, let's see. So the first book. So when they first released this book series, it actually didn't sell nearly anything for about 4 months, and they almost pulled it. And then after that 4-month mark, for some reason, like it just blew up, and from there it just kept going and going and going. So I don't know if it was word of mouth or what, but. You know, for 4 months, they were kind of like, yeah, this series is going to die and it's not worth writing. Now it's the second best selling series in the world. So that's crazy. So now moving away from the books, going into the show, since we're going to be watching The Haunted Mask, which was a television special, which was released in 95 or 96. I can't remember. I didn't write it down.
Were all of them television specials, or was
No,
this
not
like
all
an
of
actual
them.
like
No,
show?
they had
but-
they had five seasons, and then they had some specials. So The Haunted Mask was one. Night of the Living Dummy 3 was one of them. So they took like the more.
Three's better than the first two.
I don't know. I don't remember any of them. But I think they took the best-selling books and turned them into like longer because they wanted to give it more than 20 minutes. They wanted to give it like a whole hour special on TV and everything. But so in 1995 is when the television show started in America on Fox Kids. I thought it was on Disney Channel. I guess it was on Disney Channel for syndication for a bit, but it actually aired on Fox Kids, which I don't even remember Fox Kids.
I
Do you
don't
guys
really
remember that?
either.
I do. I remember Fox
What
Kids.
else was on Fox
No.
Kids?
It was like the X-Men cartoon.
Really? Was it
yeah.
Saturday
Oh,
morning
I
or was
do
it like
remember
all
it
the
now,
time?
actually.
No, it was.
Yeah.
It was Saturday mornings, but it was also like towards the end of the day, like when school got out.
Oh, interesting.
I do remember that
I
now.
don't remember that at all. And like I said, it started in Canada, so we're probably gonna see people saying they're sorry a lot and everything. And now what we're gonna do is just to kind of get you guys like your member berries going a little bit. I'm gonna show you the opening intro
Member berries.
of the show. And do you
I
guys think you
remember.
remember the show, the intro to the show at all? I mean,
No.
since you guys didn't watch it, but
Not-
Kevin,
not
do
really
you?
I remember this particular episode, but not like the intro.
I think I've
Okay.
never seen commercials.
So
that had
here
it.
I'm gonna play the intro
Yeah.
right now, and
You
I'm gonna
just
sync
remember
it
the
into the
end of
video
all
as
the
well. But here
Okay.
you
crazy
guys.
Yeah.
stuff. All right. The music's familiar. Actually, this is familiar. I remember this.
There goes his receipt.
The song is so 90s. And I gotta love that G floating around.
What?
I totally remember this. Maybe I have seen Goosebumps. This is very familiar.
The music's very Halloween-esque, I thought.
Oh, rightfully so. It's a horror.
You will beware.
Is this the guy from
No, it's
Thriller?
not. No, it's not the same guy. Not even close.
It kind of sounds like him.
Not even close. It sounds like a wannabe version. All right, so that was the intro card.
No interest in watching that.
Not even Kid Kipka.
Well,
No
No,
interest?
especially not.
No,
Yeah.
you're
Guess
too
you're not
cool
gonna
for
like
that.
This episode, then.
Yeah.
Probably not. Although you weren't here, Kevin, but when we watched Are You Afraid of the Dark, Kipka was reading way into like the emotion behind the characters and everything. He was like
Getting him
coming up
really
with this
involved.
like backstories for them and like reading into them emotionally. It was great. I loved it. So
I
speaking.
don't think it was that profound at all. I think it was just.
I think Jordan's reading into that more than I read into it.
No, I wasn't. As we talked last time, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mentioned a actor named Daniel DeSanto, who was in a few other things like The Phantom of the Megaplex and stuff.
Yeah.
He was actually in Goosebumps as well, Return of the Mummy. He was in an episode of that. So not only did he do Are You Afraid of the Dark, but he jumped ship over to Goosebumps for a little bit, and did that.
Played for both teams.
Is he
Played for
Canadian?
both teams. I'm sure he's Canadian. I'm sure all these people are Canadian.
Yeah.
So, really, the only character I remember. Do you guys remember any monster characters from Goosebumps, the books, TV show, otherwise, or?
The one that really scared me was the slime dude.
Okay, do you remember?
That's the episode, that only one I've seen. That's
Okay.
the one that scared the crap out of me.
Okay,
Legitimately, the only one I actually remember is the mask one.
okay, because that's all I remember too.
what
That
I remember,
and
too.
I remember Slappy the Dummy from Night of the Living Dummies.
Slappy the
Slappy the Dummy.
the Dummy.
So those are the two. The Haunted Mask and Slappy the Dummy are the only two. And I think there was one I read a bunch too that was like the Abominable Snowman
I
on
remember the
something
cover of
street.
that.
Yeah, so those ones were like the only ones I remember. And there was like a praying mantis.
Oh, I
Do you remember that? Like the
now, too.
giant
Yeah, I
praying
remember that too,
mantis.
actually.
So
I can't think of Slappy the Dummy without thinking of Spink the Monkey.
wow.
Calm down, Joe Cubis. Jesus.
All right. So
Hands on the table, please.
yeah, what's going on? over
Hand
there?
check.
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into a segment that I like to call Goosebumps Monsters, Real or Not.
Ooh. All right.
All right, so I'm gonna give you a monster name, and you're gonna tell me whether or not they're real. All right.
Excellent.
So first one is Monster Blood.
Oh, I'm saying fake.
Fake.
Should I go last since I've actually read them, so I may know?
No,
Yeah.
you-
Okay. Totally true.
I was going to say true as well.
Yeah, he was real. He was actually the slime creature that you're talking about. He had the ability to grow and devour anything. Called him
Really?
Monster Blood for some reason.
Really freaking scary.
Yeah, I'm sure the idea is, probably not portrayed too well on the television series. Next name, Jonathan Schiller. Ooh,
Nah, that sounds fake as well.
all right.
I think you made that up.
All right.
That's pretty bad.
Sounds like a
Like Jordan.
sounds like a fake Jordan one.
I'm going to say no. It sounds like an off-brand Slurpee.
Okay.
It totally does. It totally sounds like an off-brand
National
Slurpee.
Jonathan Schiller Day.
Something they would have at some random movie theater.
What do you
I
say,
don't remember
Kevin?
that, so I don't think.
All right.
Get a
That
Jonathan
sounds real.
Schiller.
So none of you guys
Why
think
would
it's
you
real?
even think of that name? That's
Well,
weird.
it's real.
Yeah.
Jonathan Schiller.
Because that's not even a
is
scary name.
real.
Why would he come up with
He
that?
is real. That is a real name in the Goosebumps
Was
series.
it a haunted Slurpee?
I don't know.
And how hard was he chilling?
He was chilling pretty hard. Nowadays, he'd be Netflix and Jonathan Schiller.
Hey.
Dr. Madman.
Fake.
Nah, I'm saying fake too.
All
I
right.
think that's real.
Okay.
Fake.
It is fake. I made that
damn
one up. The Doom Slingers.
I'm gonna say real.
Real?
I'm gonna say fake.
That's
Fake.
real.
Real?
I guess real.
Real? Kipka's the only one. Fake.
Yeah.
Doom Slingers.
Dude,
I
you
made that
guys
up.
have called your
I
like
made that up.
you've called your
Doom
music
Slingers.
doom stuff all the
I
time.
guess that's true.
Doom
Yeah.
Slingers, yeah. It
The
sounds
next
like a
one.
wrestler.
So we got 3 more to
Wrestling
go.
team.
I don't know who's in lead, but it doesn't really matter. You don't win anything.
For
Kevin's
shame,
in the,
sir.
in the
Yeah, maybe I'll do prizes one day. Like you.
Excellent.
You get to give me a high five or something.
Get to leave early.
Yeah, you, get to, you can scoot out before we have to actually watch it.
You win it. You're like, yes.
Calm down over there. All right, so the next one, the Lawn Gnomes.
I'm gonna say yes. That's real.
It was probably real.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll go real.
yeah, it was real.
I feel like I remember that.
All right, King Jelly Jam.
That's real.
I'm actually gonna say real just because I think it's a little like too crazy for you to make up.
Well, it's just
I
not
don't know.
scary sounding.
I might have
at
been
all.
eating a jam on my
Toast.
toast while I was writing this. Who
Or
knows?
Jamming out.
Yeah, I could.
I
have
think
been
you're
jamming.
underestimating how crazy he could be, so I'm going to say no.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So I don't
That is
know
very
as well.
true.
No, as well. It is a real monster.
Damn it.
It's
Oh.
actually with R.L. Stine. He hadn't asked me anything on Twitter, and this is his favorite monster he ever wrote. It's
Oh.
King Jelly Jam. It was from a story called Camp Jelly Jam, and it's literally just a really smelly dude or something like that.
That was the name of the, like the title of it, Camp Jelly Jam.
Camp Jelly Jam, and King Jelly Jam was the monster. Yeah.
And he started writing it by starting with the title and then creating the story.
Camp Jelly Jam. Yeah. Yeah.
What's he eating?
Canadians
Peanut
are
butter and
weird.
jelly?
Yeah. Canadian. Yeah. This dude is weird. All right. Very, very last one. Carly Beth Caldwell.
What? That's just a name.
Yeah.
That's real.
Carly Beth Caldwell. I'm gonna say that's fake.
Okay.
It's like some random friend you have on Facebook.
I have no random friends on Facebook because I'm awesome and they all love me.
Just someone you're following.
Right.
I said it.
I almost feel like that's the character's name in this one.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say it's real because I don't think you're that.
It is real because segue, she is the protagonist of the Haunted Mask.
Well, wait,
I won that.
So that's how.
Can we go back to that? You just did.
So
Segue.
that is segue. We are now gonna go watch the Haunted Mask
segues now.
with the protagonist Carly Beth Caldwell, and then we'll come back here.
Wait,
and
that you
we'll
said it was a
discuss
monster name.
Yeah, well, you know what?
We haven't seen it yet. Maybe she is a
It was a
monster.
trick question. I
She
feel like.
wears the Haunted Mask
Hashtag called
and
out.
becomes the
Yeah, he
monster.
didn't tell you
Whoa,
guys about
spoiler
the
alert.
story of this
Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
All right, so we're going to go
spoiler.
watch it now. Then we're going to come back. We're going to
Just
discuss it a
totally
little bit
ruined it
more,
for me.
break down the plot, and then we'll do a little something fun at the end as well.
Yeah, buddy.
Excellent.
Is your school lunch making you sick? Is your little brother or sister driving you absolutely crazy? Gotcha! Then we've got just the thing for you. The Haunted Mask, the first video based on the best-selling Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine. Cool, huh? The Haunted Mask is all the fun and creepiness of a great Goosebumps story come to life. But it's too weird for words. And best of all, you can watch it over and over, anytime you want. Okay. The Haunted Mask, the first Goosebumps video ever from Fox Video.
Hey. All right, we're back. After watching the masterpiece that was the Haunted Mask.
The haunted.
So what'd you guys think about it?
Definitely better than Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kipka, I don't think you liked it very much, huh?
No, I don't think it was better.
You were going into Goosebumps thinking we're going to get scared over here, and
Yeah.
then you came out not being scared. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's a kid show.
I don't know
What do
how
expect?
you came into that thinking that. I mean, really, it's a kids show in the '90s, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not scared." Well, fucking dirt.
and all of R.L. Stine's stories are
But there
supposed to
wasn't-
cross horror and humor together, which obviously there wasn't much humor in this except for like
The stories.
the
We're
stories.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we'll start it off. We'll do a little plot breakdown. It starts off. R.L. Stine is introducing the story, which R.L. Stine's an interesting fellow.
telling you, he's
Joe over here just yawned. Joe, you yawned.
I'm tired.
Such a big yawn. All right.
No, he's
like a human
R.L.
yawn.
Stein is the
R.L.
Clear
Stine,
Eyes
yeah,
guy.
R.L. Stine acted like the Clear Eyes guy. He was so like
Clear Eyes.
obviously did not want to be there. Just get out of here. So we go into the story. Carly Beth is the main protagonist. Her friend Sabrina, they go by a novelty shop and hooked on phonics. Novelty
Yeah,
shop.
that's funny.
This
That was really
this girl was supposed to be like in 6th grade. Can't
Well,
read.
I also assume they've lived there all their lives,
Yeah.
and now they've just
Like,
noticed this building.
Did this just pop up? What's going on?
They never
So-
actually call her Carly either. It's always Carly Beth.
Carly Beth.
Carly
Yeah,
Beth.
Oh,
that's
two
it.
first names.
Carly Beth.
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
So Carly Beth and Sabrina go by this novelty shop. Cut to next day. No. They're then walking by a pumpkin patch. And we get introduced to the characters of Kevin. No, what was
Something
his
and
name?
Steve.
Steve and something.
Don't remember the second.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Two,
It's not important.
it's not important.
Two bullies.
Yeah, two bullies pretty much, who are hiding to scare the girls. We find out very quickly that Carly Beth. Why do I want to call her Carly Ray Beth?
Because you
Carly
listen
Rae
to
Jepsen.
your
Carly
favorite
Carly
artist
Rae
a lot.
Jepsen. So Carly Beth, we find out very quickly she's a scaredy cat. She doesn't like to the point that
That character.
everything scares her.
Yeah,
like
and she's like bursting in tears. And
yeah, like it's not even typical things that should scare you. Like her little brother, just
she
scares
walks-
her too.
Yeah.
She walks up to her room
Mhm.
very slowly and hesitantly because you can clearly hear quacking.
Yeah,
But it's like, are you really afraid of quacking?
like you know your brother lives here with you,
Yeah.
and it sounds like his voice saying the word quack.
Your
So
mom told you that your duck costume is in your room.
So your first thought is something scary is going on. Yeah. So this girl is is so scared. It's like just unreasonable. Like, come on. So we also get introduced that her mom makes a not paper mache. What did she call it?
Super creepy porcelain.
Yeah, like a porcelain outline
Very,
of her face,
very
pretty
creepy.
much. Yeah. So like it's a porcelain mask essentially. And because she loves her so much, she made this. It's like, okay, Mom, you could have just given me $10 and I would have been way happier. But
That's such a mom thing.
yeah, I know, right? So we get introduced. She's very scared. She's supposed to wear a duck costume.
Oh, and the mouth does move of the
yes.
the sculpture.
She sees the mouth of the sculpture smile. So I think Kipka's problem is the inconsistencies in the lore behind this.
Well, why?
movie.
Why does it move?
So the
He's
mouth
got a point.
smiles at
it's
her.
kind of random.
And we see
that's
the mouth
power
move.
of love, I think.
That's the power of love.
What the hell was that?
Come on, Kevin. Huey Lewis in the news. What are you talking about? It's the
Back to
song
the
from Back to the
Future.
Future.
I know, but that just came out of nowhere.
You disappoint me, Kevin. You
Set 'em
disappoint
up,
me.
And they hit it.
Yeah, exactly.
A terrible home
Kipka's our
run.
straight.
I'd say that was
Kipka's
a
our
foul
straight
ball.
man, and we're all gay. So
Homo things.
so we get introduced. There's a mask that for some reason it's moving. We get introduced to Carly Beth, who's a scaredy cat. Next day at school, the bullies, the two kids,
Strike again.
They put a worm in her sandwich that she chews into, and it freaks her out. And people are laughing at her, and she's starting to get really angry because everyone's always making fun of her for being scared and laughing at her, and she's on her last rope.
Maybe she was just hangry.
Hangry? She could have been. She didn't get to eat that sandwich. But I mean, the extra protein from that worm does help out. Yeah. So she runs home. She goes into her little jewelry box, pulls out $30, her life savings, and goes down to Novelty Shop. And
didn't she actually say something like $40?
No, she's
No,
like,
she said
25,
30.
26.
yeah, it was 30. She was
No, when she
counting the
counted,
30s.
but when she was at the store, didn't she?
No,
like,
she
say
said
40?
30. She said I have 30.
Right, but there's major inconsistencies. This is Canadian based, and it was American dollars.
Well,
No,
so
no.
they never say where the setting is. However,
They say sorry
sorry,
every 5
a
minutes.
boot, everything is Canadian
Pretty much.
accents. So
It's Moose Jaw.
yeah, it's in Moose Jaw,
No,
Canada.
wasn't it Prince Albert?
Yeah,
Prince Albert,
Canada.
Prince Albert is the other one. And so,
Canada.
yeah, maybe it was in Prince Albert, Canada. And so she goes to the novelty shop. Creepy dude works there.
Super creepy.
Super creepy to the point, and he's like really
Kind of
terrible.
curvy, honestly.
Well, he's preoccupied about something. We don't know what, and she wants to buy a mask. So he goes, "Here, you can choose anything on this wall."
Oh, he's adamantly saying no. I'm
yeah,
closed.
at first,
Yeah.
but then he's like, "Whatever."
GTFO.
The phone's ringing. I got to go take this phone call, so we know something's up. So she then decides that I'm going to go into the back room where I'm not allowed because I am, for some reason now, another inconsistency, she is not afraid anymore. She walks into this novelty shop with all these scary masks and all this creepy stuff, and she's like, cool.
Lady
like
boner.
5 seconds ago, you were freaked out about a worm. Like,
Well, I thought
yeah.
it was more that the masks out front weren't scaring her. And
I
so
guess.
she was looking to be scared.
so she
then
was looking
went
to
back
find
there.
something
Yeah.
that was scary.
The
And
back
that,
ones
She
actually
was afraid
scared
of a
her.
duck.
Well, no,
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it was
she was
basically the
masks.
last nerve. All of a sudden, she's not afraid, but she is pissed off and wants
yeah.
to scare people.
So her anger supersedes her
yeah.
fear.
So normally walking in there would have made her shit her pants.
Yeah.
But now she's like, I need
now
something
she's so
to
mad.
just destroy everyone.
Yeah, she went to the dark side.
Yeah.
Do it.
And it's also like not
was
really
like-
addressed as his phone call you can hear in the background. He's like, no, I need this.
Yeah.
I guess it's like his magical chemicals that make these
Yes.
things.
So she goes into this back room. There's all these like chemicals going on, and there's a lineup of all these really ugly masks. And she's looking at one of them that looks like a Klingon, kind of with like crazy teeth. And she wants this one, but the dude comes in, the shop owner, and is like, "No, you can't have these ones." And then he gets really pervy, like backs her into a corner. And it's like, "What's your name, child?" And like puts his hand on her shoulder, and she's like kind of getting creeped out.
He
So
like locks her in that room for a
yeah,
little bit too.
but ultimately, the point that's trying to get across is that he's like, you can't have these masks. There's something bad about them. Like, it would be irresponsible of me to give it to you. So, of course, she then steals the mask and throws the money.
Well, but see, also he thinks he's like, well, I could give it to you, but no, like there's like like 5-10 seconds where it's like, no, I'll give it to her.
Yeah.
So he's a messed up dude.
Well, yeah. As we find out later, there's
Yeah.
something wrong with him. And we don't get to see the full extent of what, but it's implied. But anyway, she steals the mask, throws the money at him, leaves.
He looks at her and is like,
Well, she decides, what am I doing? I'm going to go back and give this back. I just stole this mask. But then she sees him close the door and put the sign up and pull the shade pretty much like, well, you made this choice. See ya. Like, so she goes, whatever, I'm going to take this mask. So she takes the mask home. She puts it on. She scares her little brother. She has trouble getting it off at first, but then it comes off, and she's like, oh, okay, whatever. It was just a hard mask to get on.
Just
So
a little sticky.
she's like, yeah. She's like, I need to go scare these boys that scare me. So she puts the mask on. Essentially, it's just a lot of nonsense for a while where she's like scaring little
Yeah.
children, but she's
Mischief.
slowly starting to turn. Like she has this creepy laugh.
oh, great laugh.
That was the best part was the laugh.
It's like a high heckle. It's like who said the Wizard of Oz witch?
Yeah, Joe
Oh,
said that.
yeah.
Joe said that it sounded like the Wizard of Oz, the Witch of the East.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, the
Wicked
Wicked Witch of
Wicked
the
Witch of the
West.
West. Oh,
Wicked
Wicked Witch of the West.
I thought you said
All
You
the
were,
W's.
you were close, just the other way.
The other way.
That's all.
The other
Isn't
East.
the east one under the house? Isn't like doesn't the
Who's-
fall?
Don't worry
the
about
house
it.
fall on the Wicked Witch of the East?
Anyways,
Okay,
so
anyway,
she's
getting back
running
to it.
around, scaring the shit out of kids,
Scaring kids.
and the
Cover
mask
something
is
over the
changing.
Wiz.
Yes, slowly. What's cool is the mask is changing. She had like the sockets where you could still see her skin a little bit around her eyes, but then that goes away, and then her eyes kind of change color, so they're not really her eyes anymore. The skin
is open.
starts looking like it's sweating.
Yeah.
It's more form-fitting,
Slimy, kinda like
slimy.
perspiration.
Changes colors.
Yeah, every now and then
Yeah.
the mouth will actually open
Yeah,
and
those
stuff.
little details were
So that was
actually
super
really
cool. So you start seeing that this mask is kind of taking over, and her personality, like she's ruthless. Like she's scaring little kids, she's stealing candy, she's ripping down decorations. It's not the same kind of sweet Canadian girl that we saw before.
Oh, she's like possessed.
She is now possessed by something. She wants to scare these bullies
And
so bad.
then she was at the one house with the MILF who wanted to call the cops on her.
Yes. So they go to this one house, and there's this like lady with her 2 kids there, and then she like says something to the kids to scare them. And
She like grows up and grabs one of the kids basically.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty
Slaps around a
pretty
little
bad. But then her friend Sabrina's like, that old hag is gonna call the cops on you if you don't stop. And we're all like, the lady
Well-
was 32 years old or something. Like she was a really young like old
When you're
hag.
when
Like,
you're a little kid, everyone's an old hag.
I guess we're like, what? That didn't make sense
That was
at
a
all.
hot
but-
hag.
a hot hag. So yeah, she finally finds the 2 boys who are for some reason in a cemetery dancing on graves, eating their candy.
Having a little pirate party.
Yeah, a little pirate party. They're dressed as pirates, as kids do, going to
Yeah.
cemeteries to hang out. So she comes up
That's what we all
behind them
did,
and
dancing
scares
on
them.
graves.
And one thing I didn't mention is she's been carrying around the ceramic head all night that her mom made of
On
her.
a stake.
On a stake, pretty much. Kind of the symbolism that, like, the old Carly Beth is gone. This is the new Carly Beth. No more BS, nothing. So she goes, she scares the bullies. She's like telling them, say sorry to Carly Beth. This is the old
Sorry.
Carly. Yeah, say
Sorry.
sorry.
Say
Because
sorry.
even as the voice of the evil, like, mask.
The madder she
Still
gets, the
says
more
sorry.
Canadian
Sorry.
her sorries
Yeah,
get.
it's
You
like,
can be an evil Canadian,
I
too.
guess. I don't know. What evil Canadians do
Can-
we know?
can
Evil,
you-
evil
can you
Knievel?
really?
Trevor Cook.
Shout out to Trevor Cook.
Trevor Cook. Sorry,
you
you
have
guys don't
something?
know what we're talking
The-
about.
There actually was a huge, Canadian debacle when they stole a lot of the supply of the maple syrup. It was a big deal.
Oh yeah, and then they crossed the border and
Yeah.
everything.
Get that mute mic going.
So you won. You can leave.
Now we're all winners.
Yeah, now we're all winners. Where was I? Dang it.
They were in the graveyard.
Made
They're in
the kids
graveyard.
beg
Sorry.
and say sorry.
Yeah, so she made the kids say sorry to the mask. The mask actually starts talking like, "Save me, save me."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Really weird. It doesn't make sense why it needs to talk. And Kipka's point was, why did it even smile at the beginning? Like
Yeah.
what? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense at all. What's wrong with this ceramic mask that her mom made? Makes no sense. So she
Made
scares
with
the
love.
it is made with love, as we find out later, which cures all. So the kids say they're sorry. The masks they freak out. They run away. And the kids also did admit the only reason that we make fun of Carly Beth is because we like her.
Which is crazy. Her friend is way cuter.
The-
She's like 12, Kipka.
You have to be relative.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Joe, didn't you point out something about the brunette one?
Yeah, I said I feel like when she's older, she's gonna be pretty hot.
Calm down, Joe.
You have to be
So-
relative. Yeah.
So yeah, the boys run away. They're freaked out. She's now taken over by the mask completely. She puts the mask in the ground, the ceramic face of her, and buries it. The symbolism that old Carly Beth is completely buried and gone.
She does it like a hysterical hyena too.
Yeah, and she howls at the moon pretty much.
Yeah.
Goes off running, goes back to her friend Sabrina's house, and is now like, all right, let's take this mask off. It's getting hot in here. Night's over. They realize the lining is no longer there. It is now formed with her skin. There's no way to get this mask off. So she freaks out. She runs back to the novelty shop, and the guy's sitting there waiting for her like, I thought you'd be back because obviously I let you take this mask that I shouldn't have. And so
irresponsible.
She comes in. He's like, what is his explanation? He says, these masks, when I made these masks, they were beautiful. But then they started turning
So basically,
evil.
he is a very ugly person.
Yes.
And so he made masks that look good, like an attractive person.
Yes.
And he started wearing them.
Yes.
And then slowly they started turning ugly,
Yeah,
just
they
like
started,
how
like,
he
decaying
really
on
is.
him.
Yeah. And you can tell because right now he says, just like this mask. And he has some like
Warts and stuff.
on his
Yeah.
cheek.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm wearing a mask right now.
And you
so
can
what
see
he
on some
essentially
of the
does.
other masks have the warts.
Yeah. And what he essentially does is he creates a new mask every time and takes the old one off, puts a new one on, because he never learned to love himself, is essentially why. Like, if you don't love yourself, there's nothing you can do. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Stop.
Joe Cubic's up with that one.
loving himself.
What?
Oh, okay.
Was that a gay joke? What
know.
was that?
Where was that going?
Self-love.
Self-love. I don't
Okay.
know.
I tried stopping
Craiger?
you before you said
What?
because I saw him. He's like he's getting excited right there. Just like his lips are quivering. I'm like, you can
See all the gears moving in Krager's head.
I'll give you this. At least half of your jokes have landed today, so I'll give you that.
You did have one pretty good one during the show.
Yeah. So.
I'll throw them all out there, see which ones stick.
So, anyways,
All right.
this is where I think he was talking about, like,
Yeah,
that
give
he was
me the down
He
low.
was so mad about on the phone about getting these things, which I think is obvious, like the chemicals, because that's how he must get it off. Because he needs to take his off now. It's already warding up. And
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that, because that was my next
That's
question: was
actually a
how
good
does he
idea.
get them off if she can't get hers off?
Well, I think
how
that's
does he
why
get
it's such
his?
a heated conversation.
I
Because it's
see.
like, I need this stuff because I'm getting ugly again.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
need to get this mask off.
Because
Yeah.
he was like saying like, I don't care about customs and stuff like that. Like, I need it now. So yeah, that makes sense. That's a good insight. I didn't actually think of that. So that's what all the things in the vials were.
And that's why he's not going to waste the chemicals on her because
Yeah,
he
'cause
needs
he's
it.
like, you're pretty much screwed. This is your face now. This is
Yeah.
it. And then he has a bright idea. He goes, wait, there might be a way. Which I don't know why he didn't lead with that. He's like, how many times have you taken off the mask? And she's like, once. And he goes, there might be a chance then. The only way to combat it is with love. Self-love. You need to learn to love yourself. So her so she doesn't know what that means. She's like, what does that even mean? And before he can explain, the other masks wake up.
And this
they-
part's weird.
and they start moving, and they realize, hey, our buddy over there is now on someone. Someone
of
could
us.
actually,
One
yeah,
of us.
pretty much, yeah,
One of us.
pretty much. So they start like following her, and she's running away, but they're like, hey, love us too. Like, if you obviously love this mask enough to put it on, let it take over you, you love us as well. Because the shopkeeper said, oh, I call these masks the unloved ones. So she runs to the graveyard again where she buried her ceramic face. And she pulls it back up and she goes, no, see, this is me. And for some reason, her real face is so ugly, it scares the ugly ones away. Like, they just, for some reason, are like, whoo! And they're like,
crap,
I'm outta
she's
here.
already got a mask.
Yeah, so they go away, and then there's some like flimsy explanation that this is the love because my mom made it with love that now I learned to love myself, kind of thing. I don't know.
Which
There
doesn't
was
really
some-
make sense. That's your mom's
no,
love, not
there
yours.
was some connection with like love going on or whatever that trumps
I think it was
all.
just how creepy that ceramic thing was.
Maybe, I don't
It
know.
scared everyone away.
So it made it so that she could take the haunted mask off. She takes it off, and we thought she left it in the cemetery actually, because we were all saying like, don't leave it there. Like, some random person's gonna come up and put it on. But obviously she took it with her because later she gets home. Her mom's like, where have you been? It's so late. And she's like, I love you, Mom. Blah,
Oh,
blah,
no, you
blah.
forget the sick burn her brother pulls on her, though, right
Oh,
when she
yeah,
walks in.
yeah.
That was great.
Super sick
She
burn.
gets home, and her brother looks at her with this just stricken, fearful look in his eyes and goes, take the mask off. And she freaks out because she's like, I thought I took it off. And she looks in the mirror. It's actually her face. And he just starts laughing.
Because I think everyone's made that joke to someone in Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the ugliest mask I've ever seen. I'm not wearing a mask. Oh, like,
Yeah.
So that happens. So then she's like, I love you, Mom. Like, whatever. They hear her brother stirring over in the corner. And she's like, what are you doing, brother? And he comes around. She's like, don't put that mask on. And he's like, I won't. But then he turns the corner and he has the mask on. And then end scene.
Dun, dun,
so it goes back to R.L. Stine where
Clear eyes.
weirdest thing ever. He's literally, that was a scary story.
Yeah, he's
I hope you didn't get too scared.
Jordan, that was actually a really good impression.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
He's so monotone. It's so
his
weird.
eyes are half shut. I'm like, I think he's taking a nap and reading at the
had a few
same time.
Ambients.
Yeah, seriously. So then he makes a joke where he's like, that wasn't too scary, was it? Let's see how my parents liked it. And it camera pans
I
over.
thought for sure it was gonna be skeletons.
Yeah, me too. They were setting it up for skeletons, but it was just two like old people with like white makeup, like Beetlejuice, and their hair like
Yeah,
very
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Sticking up.
Rock concert.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, and then that was a joke, and then it would cut to credits. Pretty much was what it was. So, what do you think? How did you like it for not watching Goosebumps, Joe? This is Joe talking.
Hi, I'm Joe.
This is Joe time.
This is Joe time. How did you
It's
like it
always
for never
Joe
watching
time.
it as a kid? What did you think?
Why are there so many jerking off jokes with you?
Actually,
Hands up on the table, please.
I don't want to hear about your schedule right now. If that's what you were going for.
I actually really did like it.
Okay, okay.
I wouldn't have liked it as a kid. It probably would have scared me.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it.
Did you think it was corny, or did you think it was like?
Oh, of course it was corny, but at the same time, I thought it was more entertaining than Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah,
I liked it way more than Are You
I
Afraid
agree.
of the Dark, actually.
It was less corny than Are You Afraid of the Dark? In
Oh,
my
yeah,
opinion, but it still had a
definitely.
lot of moments. What about you, Kipka?
I'd say this is creepier. I think they're both pretty cheesy, obviously.
Do you
but
think everything was cheesy, or do you think like I thought that the prosthetic mask
I thought
was
well,
done
that's what
well?
I was gonna say. Compared to Are You Afraid of the Dark, where there was literally nothing scary. Really? This had the mask, and the mask was just really well made.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any other Are You Afraid of the Darks have anything like that would scare you.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
At
there
the
was the
time,
clown.
I mean, if they gave like we discussed this, if they gave more prominence to the dude dressed in like the demonic clown outfit in that Zebo episode,
But yeah, the clown.
that would have been. But the clown
there was no
itself wasn't
scary.
scary.
Yeah, it wasn't scary.
Which
If they had
I
a mask like
feel
this,
like,
it
and
would've
I don't
been
know
scary.
if because this was a Goosebumps special, so they felt like they could go a little bit more intense with it.
Yeah.
Or if the show does get a little bit more intense and everything. But yeah, I guess there's one way to find out. We can watch the whole series, but I don't think
That's
any of
okay.
us are doing that.
Thank you to Netflix for supplying the
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah,
by
if
the
you
way.
want to check out Goosebumps at all, it's on Netflix right now. What is this? 4 o'clock, March 25th, 2018. So
of right now,
as
it's
of
on
right now,
Netflix.
it's on Netflix.
I don't think anyone's heard of this Netflix before.
No. Yeah, it's a really small company that streams video.
I'm more a Hulu guy.
Yeah.
Side note, though, I
Yes.
thought about this. What the hell would she have done if there was no porcelain head?
Yeah.
I mean, really. 'Cause-
Seriously, though.
Yeah, and then, you said it's got to be of love. I mean, her mom could make her a sandwich, and that's out of love, right? I mean, isn't there,
Yeah.
so much? That's so
Yeah, I think
out
what-
there. You could do love so many
It's
different
just
ways,
it's the plot of convenience is what
Yeah,
it
I
was.
guess so.
You know.
She would have gone one of those fresh, worm-free sandwiches. She would have been good.
Oh yeah, would have been totally good. But what about Kevin? What did you think? Did it wreck? Since you're one of the only other people with me that
I'm
watched, did it
shocked how
wreck
much-
your childhood?
No, I'm shocked how much I actually remembered of it.
Yeah.
When I was watching, I was like, wow, I remember most of this. Yeah, it was corny, obviously, but she did a really good job of that creepy laugh. And
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
I thought she
Best
did
part.
really good.
Best part. Mhm.
And yeah, I liked it.
Do you remember being scared at all?
No,
or creeped
but
out when
I'm-
you were a kid?
I never
at
really
all?
get scared.
Like
Yeah.
you
Like that.
didn't think
No.
anything was creepy.
I
when
remember
you were a
thinking
kid?
the masks
not really.
moving were the creepiest part, and that was the cheesiest part
That
of
was
the whole.
Yeah,
the
whole
cheesy
thing
part, but-
is when they were actually moving. What about you, Krager? What did you find about this? Did you like it or?
Well, after Are You Afraid of the Dark, I
Yeah.
was low expectations.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot better. And what I really liked is it at least didn't have like a purely happy ending. It had like at least some suspense, like, oh, it still could be bad. You know?
It was like that the end question mark like
exactly.
thing. Yeah. So that was kind
It
of
was
cool.
like
I don't know.
that.
I don't feel like it wrecked my childhood either. I'm like you. I'm surprised how much I actually was remembering of it as it went along. And I also feel like on a corn factor from like cream corn to a pot of boiling corn on the cob. I feel like the corn factor was somewhere in the middle. Like there were some scenes where like it was pretty bad. I
don't know which side is cornier.
Wait, so
which one is bad?
Specifically,
Where does popcorn fall on this
I
scale?
specifically kept it ambiguous because I don't know where I was going with that.
I do have to say though, the corniness. There wasn't one scene that I thought was so egregious that I'm like,
Yeah.
God, this is
like I said,
awful.
the masks moving was the most corny thing out of the whole thing, and it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was dated, but it would still scare a child today, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like they did
with
it.
that.
They did it in a way that it was almost like timeless enough that you could get away with it being kind of corny because they had it like the way it moved wasn't just a solid movement. It had kind of a trail behind it.
Yeah.
So it almost felt like it was meant to do that. Like you were on LSD or something and they were moving.
I think there's better production that made it things like that a little scary, less corny. I think the pumpkin patch scene would have been really cheesy in the Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Definitely.
But like doing the like close, I don't know, just different camera angles made it scary. I think.
I feel like they had a way better director of photography on this.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing a
They
little bit
definitely-
more.
Definitely had better production, better writing, and better acting. Because just Are You Afraid of the Dark was just.
I don't know. The
worst.
acting wasn't that.
It wasn't-
It
It wasn't
about the same.
great, but it was
Better.
good
It was
enough for a
better.
kids show.
Yeah.
A bunch of
Yeah.
Canadian kid actors.
Yeah, I'd say the acting was
okay.
about the
Like,
same.
well, the
I
main
don't know.
chick, she definitely was the decent actress. You know,
Well,
I mean, she had a mask on for most of the time.
I
so
know.
Not the crying scene.
no, but like the
No.
vocal part of it.
The crying scene was
I'm
bad,
still-
and her stutter was
and
bad.
there's no guarantee that was
yeah,
her.
I'm still
Yeah.
debating
Yeah.
whether or not her voice when she wears the mask is actually her.
Yeah.
There was a part where she did have that kind of like goblin-y, like high pitched, like kind of witchy voice going the whole time.
it was
So,
pretty crazy.
yeah, you missed it last week, Kevin. I did my Gilbert Gottfried impression. Are You Afraid of the Dark? So now we're gonna get.
There was one time that
I know.
was just money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So now
That
we're
can
gonna.
never be recreated.
Nope.
We're gonna get into the
Nor
last
should it be.
the last part here, the fun part that I like to call actor recall roundup. So this is kind of what we did last week, where I'm gonna give you an actor or actress, and then you're gonna tell me whether or not they were actually in an episode of Goosebumps. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. All right, so we're starting off again. A name that we remember from last week: Hayden Christensen.
I'm gonna say yes.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
I'll say yes.
Yes.
No.
The yeses have it.
Damn.
buddy.
Night of the Living Dummy 3 is what he was in.
Nice.
Next one, Melissa Joan Hart, another recall from last week.
I'm going to say yes again.
All right.
Around that time.
I feel like you're just adding it, but yeah, I'll say yeah.
She's
Okay.
no.
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 Kipka knows me well. It's a no. I was just adding it because we said it last week. She was not in Goosebumps.
She's in like everything, so you
what
gotta
about-
just say yes.
What about Adam West, everyone's favorite Batman?
Sorry.
It's pretty
I'm gonna
creepy.
say yes.
No.
No.
I feel like he'd be dumb enough to do it. Yes.
It is a yes. He was in one called Attack of the Mutant.
Yeah.
What about Drake, another famous Canadian actor of Degrassi fame?
I think he
right.
threw it in because he's just Canadian.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
No.
No and sorry.
I hope so.
He was not in
Yeah,
it.
I don't think-
I think he's a little too young to have been in it
Yeah,
at that
definitely.
time. What about Michael Cera?
It's about this. No.
Interesting. I'm actually gonna say yes.
All right. What? Why are you laughing over?
Joe with his cell phone all the time.
I say that all the time.
All right.
All right then, moving on. So
From,
you say
this is the end.
you say
when
it-
he goes.
Just say yes or no.
Cell phone. I say
Oh,
that all the time.
I do remember
I
that.
say that a bunch.
I
always
forgot
say my
about that
phone.
movie.
This is embarrassing.
All right, so
All
we're
right,
going
so
back.
cut
Michael,
and action.
yeah, we'll cut that part out. Michael Cera. So you said yes.
I'm gonna say yes.
Kipka, what do you say?
No.
No. All right.
I'm gonna say no.
Too young.
Yeah, he's a no.
I didn't even think about the age.
We just said the
my
age thing.
my favorite Canadian, Colin Mockery of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Was he in Goosebumps?
Man, I really hope so.
Is that a yes?
That's a yes.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
No.
He is in it.
Oh my word.
In an episode called Bad Hair Day because he had no
Oh,
hair.
yes, no
I love it. And then the very, very last one is Ryan Gosling.
Okay. Was he a no last time? No, he was a yeah.
No, I think he
No, I
was
think
in
he
it
was
last
in
time.
it.
Was
he
he?
was
I'm
in it.
gonna go yes.
I'll say no.
I'm gonna go no as well.
He was in it. He
Oh,
was in
yeah.
Say Cheese and Die.
They probably filmed these at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
There was actually a lot of crossover between Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps that I didn't like put on there, but yeah, there was a lot of crossover. So that's the Haunted Mask. I don't know anything else you guys want to add. Did anything stand out? I mean, there was a lot of stories in there, so it was definitely not hiding
I
that
was
it's
like,
Canadian.
we tried to make some jokes about the stories. We were fortunate last week.
Yeah, but this week was ridiculous.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A lot of
I think
stories.
by when we were done with the first half of the show, it had already had like 7 stories.
We
in
definitely
there.
needed a story counter.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that would have been a great drinking game.
Definitely
we would all be
drink every
sloshed right
single
now.
time
Yeah.
They say sorry.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So anything else, you guys?
I don't know what's on the menu.
I actually was just
For
surprised
the-
how much I enjoyed it.
Well,
I did not think I was going to
I think
enjoy it.
we've done quite a bit now of the nostalgia stuff. So I was thinking maybe we could get a little bit away from nostalgia and do something a little bit different.
Like?
So some of the stuff we're gonna do, or maybe actually so there's 2 options we can go here. We can either stick with nostalgia and kind of do a little bit of a different format where I'm going to show you guys clips from TV shows and movies that came out in the late 80s, early to mid 90s from when we were kids. And then you'll have to name that show. And we'll have the thing kind of play along down picture in picture so that people at home can kind of play
Not
along.
good for a podcast.
Not great for a podcast, but it's a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of a different format. It's a more interactive podcast. You know, yeah, it's probably good for the YouTube video only. We probably wouldn't have an audio version. But the other route I was thinking is we can then do more recent stuff of what we were kind of going with Wreck My Franchise. So we take movies that we love and watch the little known straight to DVD sequels of them and kind of gauge those. So things like Butterfly Effect 2, the sequel to Donnie Darko is called S. Darko. What were
Mean
some
Girls
of
2.
Mean Girls 2. The Little Mermaid 2.5. Like, no, but there's a lot out there. The Blair Witch Project 2. That
Haven't
one.
seen the first one.
You've never seen the first one?
I've never
What
seen
is
it.
wrong-
First one.
You have seen it. Give me
I've
a
never
break.
seen the
Give me.
first one.
I thought I watched it.
So he
with
said
you.
I don't like to watch scary things.
I love scary things.
None of you guys have seen Blair Witch Project?
Got around to it. Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry. I feel like now you're not gonna like it because it's so dated. Because like it's pretty much Paranormal Activity and like all those movies back before it was like perfected, or not perfected. It was just more. It's more rough around
I
the
didn't
edges.
care for Paranormal Activity either, so.
You guys are crazy.
like
Okay,
Paranormal
so we're
Activity.
scratching Blair Witch Project 2 off. I'm just gonna watch that by myself and do a lonely podcast. But yeah, so we're gonna do one of those 2 routes. We'll talk about it more off camera because this is riveting television right here. And then maybe I'm gonna hopefully start releasing some episodes this upcoming week. You guys hearing this is probably gonna be a few weeks into it then. But hopefully we'll get some followers and stuff, and then we can have portions at the end where maybe like if we start doing more interactive stuff where we can get some questions kind of submitted
Q&A.
for topics coming up. So that's what we got on the docket. We have a lot of stuff on the docket. None of you guys are married or dating anyone, but so I was gonna have.
That was
a
a little harsh.
Oh well, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, that's more recent.
Well,
But I was.
Don't forget
by the time this comes out.
Another route I was going. Yeah, who knows when this could be years later coming out when I get around to it. But I wanted to do another thing where it's Battle of the Sexes or Battle of the Couples kind of thing, where like the newlywed game and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on the docket. We'll see what's coming out. But yeah, for the Haunted Mask, we're pretty much done.
Nice.
All right. So until next time.
Wow.
Bye.
Oh boy.